right, a very good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're watching us from. What's up, what it do? It's your boy, Mr. Damas, holding it down, Kama down. Today I'm hanging out with my boy,
Ben Waimani,
and our girl,
Patricia Susan mwenyewe.
And this is Catch 22.
Nijikute, tumesema leo Susan hakuna venye atasema jina yake. Nijikute siku moja kujiintroduce.
Yes, and we are having such an amazing episode. Poleni sana, I've been out for a minute, but I'm back, Kam Gongo. Yeah. And today we are having an amazing.
Ujamani kuna madono. Right now he's back.
How am I supposed to go with this?
So yes, we are back, and we are back for today's amazing episode. We're having an amazing discussion, and today's topic is one very interesting one. This is how it goes. How much information should your personal person know about your past? Mutu chako. Your boy, if it is for you, Patsu, and your girl, if it is for you, Ben. This is your boyfriend, this is your girlfriend. How much information about your past should they know about you?
Wow.
Quite interesting.
Take it
quite
away.
Interesting. So let me hear you people. What's up?
You need deep.
So is it ladies first, or do we start on the father's right?
No, take it away. You start.
Kama mtu ameokoka siwezi toka jua nilikuwa naenda Lejo Maria.
But then this question is very tricky because considering your past is quite a very interesting chapter of your life that most people perhaps might not really want to resonate. And when I'm talking about your past, it's not necessarily the bad part about it. You know, you could be maybe, an achiever. You did something and maybe it's not something that you really, keep on talking about it, but it comes up and maybe it's not something that you consider worth speaking or telling people about it, but it's something amazing, something good. But how much of your past, let's talk even about some of these contentious issues that perhaps you may be thinking. Let's say, for example, maybe you are
what?
A rapist.
Hi.
But you saw the light. Come on.
The streets.
Yes, No, I'm just thinking. Maybe you are.
That's a bad example.
I mean, it's a past that you are jailed. You are jailed for that crime, or maybe perhaps you're a murderer, or it's your past. It's something that you maybe perhaps served time. It's over and done with, and this is just a part of your past that you have to deal with, and perhaps even consequences. But again, is it something that you would want to? You've moved on. Life has dealt you. You've paid the dues. Life has dealt you with good cards, and now you've made something out of yourself. And now you even sit pretty. You now have a decent, life, and you want to start up a family, and you're now dating someone, and now you're like, yo. Is it something that you give full disclosure to your partner?
It is a sensitive matter when it comes to growing up and moving on with life and moving from one person to another person. Yes, these people are different, and there are things you are not going to bring them on board to this other relationship. There are things that they happened. You're like, I don't want all these things to be known. But personally, one thing that I wouldn't want to bring into this other space is showing my other person's weakness, because if that didn't work because she was 1, 2, 3 things, then it means that this person might start manipulating themselves to fit into your description.
This is if you had a previous relationship or what?
Yes.
Okay.
So now you don't want to share. Okay, let me say you wouldn't want to share let's say the things that you're looking in a person. Like maybe for those people that say they have a checklist, you wouldn't want to bring it on board because this person might manipulate themselves to fit into what you're looking for. Because that other one didn't work, and these are the things that didn't work, and well, this didn't work because maybe you weren't the perfect match. Maybe we weren't headed somewhere together. But then if you get to share to this other person, you'll be like, now I need to fit in so that I keep this person.
Oh, okay. That's if you are actually coming in, if you're bringing in a situation where you're in a previous relationship that didn't work out.
Yes.
But would you share with your partner about your past relationships? Like, if right now you were in a relationship, would you tell your boyfriend about your past relationships?
It's not necessary unless there's something that needs to be addressed about it. But why do you need to know about the other person and what happened in the, unless it's just a point of maybe the other person wanting to know how the relationship looked like.
Yes, and that is the reason why I would want to ask about your past. Would
That's
you give
fine.
that information?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But we won't go into details like, let's say he was tall. No, as in the details that would make the relationship become a comparison.
Which tall?
Which exactly, you know.
Yeah.
So now it will be like, oh, my ex used to do this for me, you're not doing it for me. There's the aspect of our relationship didn't work because of A, B, C, and D. That's the only past that I could bring into the new relationship. But anything else, sweetie, no.
But now let me ask you a very interesting question. We're in the day and age where we are having different vast platforms of meeting people. Their online dating platforms, the Tinders, and even as simple as TikTok. And you know, one thing leads to another. You like someone else's post. One thing leads to another. Someone slides in your DM. You start having conversation. The next thing you know, you're on a date. And one thing could lead even to another. To you guys starting to get into some form of relationship, and maybe you can hit it off, but you're just checking each other out and you're sizing each other after coffee dates and all that jazz. Now my concern is this person is not someone who has had the preserve of knowing your past beyond what you basically tell them. So they really go all out to what you're giving them is what they're working with. And so they would really want to know you better, and perhaps there's some things that unless they really poke around and know through your circle of friends and everything, that's the only source of information they can actually get to be able to know more about you. Now, for example, you choose not to go all out on full disclosure, and they discover from their own, a lot of investigations and stuff. They know maybe perhaps you are a devil worshipper. This is something you never came out with. They just realized at some point in time, you went on a bender, you became a Satanist, and then I don't know what happened, something, and then maybe he's been seeing certain tendencies, or they've been seeing some certain tattoos in your body, and they're actually starting to have some, they've just been curious, they've never really been bold about asking you, and then maybe perhaps you've not gotten to a place where you will tell them, oh, by the way, me, I used to be, XYZ. My biggest concern is how much information should they be privy to with regards to your past life, and how much at what level, at what stage in your relationship. I would understand maybe perhaps when you're starting to when the relationship is young, there's a way you just hold back. But as we have progressed, there's also expectation that this person needs to open up. How much information and at what point, Patricia? Where would you say, what would be your answer to that?
I think it's more of, it's a journey. With every step, there's a unlocking that happens. Like, yo, babe, I used to be this and this. Then maybe after, I think it moves with how comfortable the relationship is getting. And the more you get comfortable, the more you get vulnerable. So you could be with someone for 50 years, but you never told them everything about your own personal life. Then you could be in a season of your life that you probably even don't remember certain things that you used to do in the past. But then there's another season that would remind you, like, oh my God, I used to be, Then that's when you particularly tell the person about that. So I think it's just a gradual, it's like a seesaw. Today we are here, or so this at this particular point of life is when I could unveil to you that maybe when I was younger, this is what I used to do. So it would show someone some of the patterns and the ways of how you do things, so they'll be like, okay, this is why. But I feel like there are situations where from the word go, you need to put them out. Yeah. Like for example, if you're locked up in jail, why would you not tell me that? Because ulikuwa jela sawa, umetoka. So why were you in jail? Then let me decide if I'm staying with you, if I'm going. If you are divorced, you also say that. But there are things that would be hard to tell someone, even if you want to tell someone. Let's say if you had an abortion, I don't think that's something that you'd literally just be like, oh my God, hi babe. Do you know, like with my ex, I had an abortion, and then
you'll never tell your ex about an abortion you had.
Why would I do that?
And what if you get into marriage and then you realize you have difficulties having kids, and then you pull that card out right off from nowhere?
Also, is that not even about even when we talk about godly dating and getting into a space where you're dating, you're doing your courtship, and you talk about breaking the strongholds, the soul ties and everything. I think that aspect of even abortion is important, so that you get to understand what you're breaking. What you're breaking, you need to confess. Like we were saying, we need to confess to one another. But I don't think it's something that should be shared from
the
an immediate level and middle level.
This is advanced.
Somewhere where now you're doing life together, you're ready even for marriage, and you're like, now let us be real now.
If it's dating, I'll definitely not tell you. But if
we're headed somewhere, all the issues on the table, because now it gets to, because unaweza ambia mtu leo umepatana na msee umwambie by the way nilikuwa kuna time nilikuwa na abortion na kuangalia sema wewe ni mwanyaji mbaya.
No,
ama usikie mtu amekuuliza umetoa ngapi.
And they'll expect you to go full disclosure. And my biggest concern in out of that question is it because we fear? We fear that at the end of the day, this person might not be able to accept us the way we are, and therefore it will define our relationship. I'm not at this point in time ready to lose this man. Maybe it's taken me like so long to get to where I have. You've invested blood, sweat and tears. You've gotten to a space where this is someone who my family loves. Everyone is on board. They're like, finally Patricia, finally Moas, finally Ben, you're able to settle down. But then there's this one thing that has come that is almost threatening to become a deal breaker. A deal breaker in the sense that it might not close this whole thing you've been anticipating for. So the real issue here and the conversation we're having here is all about fear. And why do we fear about sharing our past, knowing that there's nothing that we can really change? And if someone loves us, they should be able to love us with the mistakes we've made. Why are we fearful about that?
Fear is everywhere, and not even you can't even get to share even with your family in terms of things that you've gone through. And sometimes the fear comes when it depends on whatever experience you had in life, because someone else could just share and say, in my previous relationship, my partner was used to rape me, and when you look at this other person, you're like, there are things when you do, it reminds me, it triggers me of where I was, and the fear is there because sometimes you feel like, is this person going to handle me differently or the same way this other person handled because of whatever situation they've gone through. And then also there's that perspective of things will change. You won't look at this person the same way you saw them love at first sight, or when you saw them. It becomes different. And I actually wanted to say that depending on the different experiences that we've had in our lives,
it molds and shapes.
It has molded us differently and shaped us differently. So maybe you could come across someone who's from a relationship that this guy was a narcissist, yeah, and this person gave up on love. This person right now, yani ile roho kidogo ilikuwa imebaki iliharibiwa kabisa, and perspective yake ya mwanaume imechange. But then this person, it's important when they get to tell you from honesty level where they are coming from. Akikwambia nilikuwa kwa place yenye nilikuwa na msem toxic, you will understand this is how I need to treat my girlfriend or my boyfriend, because where she's coming from, she's coming from a space where alikuwa amevunjwa roho kabisa, roho ilikuwa imeharibiwa kabisa.
And I hear that. And Patricia, I want to pose this question to you, because what Ben Kelly has just brought in is a very interesting twist. It is important for people to know your past, so that, like you said, so that I can, if you explain to me, let's say I'm your boyfriend, and I'm now dating you, and perhaps you don't share about your past, and I'm starting to notice that when it comes to certain things, you have a particular predisposition towards it, and I'm like, I can't seem to understand you. But if you shared with me why you have a certain disposition with regards to a certain way you react concerning certain things, maybe for example, if I speak loudly, because it's my nature, it ticks you off. The only thing about it is it reminds you of a past or a relationship that you had. The guy will start off as loud, and then the next thing you know, it's violence. Are you getting me? So whenever I start to speak loudly, it gets you to in a certain space where you just anticipate, whoa, now this is, and then you start becoming fearful, and I'm wondering why you're like this. So there's a place where you share your past that helps the other person be able to manage how and understand you better, and be able to manage how they engage you. Don't you think that is very important, so that it helps the other person? I'm trying to bring in a scope where we shouldn't just be fearful because of the repercussions that we will face because of this person either leaving us, or the certain fears that it inspires, so that we choose to hold back. There's also a place where it grants a lot of help and freedom, and even helps you overcome certain spaces. Don't you think there's a place for that?
I think it's very important, but the reason as to why we would choose not to share is because, first, I don't think we all trust ourselves that much to be able to trust someone else with your own personal information. We don't even trust one another to give. If I'm dating you, I won't trust you enough to give you my whole heart. So why would I tell you about my entire past, So again, as humans, we are naturally selfish, So with the aspect of me telling you my past, it could be a way of me, it's actually a way of communicating. If I am dating you, if we choose to be together, this and this and this is a way that I would not appreciate being treated, and this is ways of how I would feel loved, So when it comes to sharing your past, it won't be so easy to give it like on a silver platter to a person. You have to weigh and see, is this person really worth me sharing about my past? Because some people's pasts are very heavy, So it's a matter of trust, and also just being us being selfish, and also how the society has just commercialized, like you don't have to share your past. It's like just a front face. What you see is what you get, But beyond what you see, there's deeper and deeper layers of who we are.
But what is the greatest fear? I think what people fear to share is how they will be perceived after that. For me, that is the bottom line. Because sasa itakuwa ni umse atanionaje, watu watanibebaje, and perhaps I've been really trying to put a facade to give an image of this is the Mwas who is a squeaky clean guy who has, nimesafisha rada. Everyone knows me for who I am with what I have been fronting. But the truth of the matter is, perhaps I have been a rapist, a murderer, I've been a satanist, maybe perhaps I've engaged some of those things. So our biggest fear has always been our perception. But now, my biggest concern is, especially as Christians, the old has
gone,
has passed away, and the new has come.
Yes.
Shouldn't our focus and our concern and our desire be defined by who God has now called us to be, such that even when I stand here and I tell you that guy who was X, my nini is gone, and this is the new me, and God has been working in me, or perhaps even still working in me, shouldn't people be at a place where they need to be ready to accept me, especially as Christians? Because it's a past that I am done with. Perhaps I used to be a gay guy or even lesbo, maybe, and now here I am. I'm really just trying to now make my life work. I've come back to the Lord. I'm now reworking myself. I'm really trusting the walk, and I'm walking on the straight and narrow. But people still see me with the eyes of the world, and God has done a new thing in me. So why can't we be confident in the fact that Christ has already validated us? And so people's opinion should not really define how we should be looked at. Why is it such a thing?
I think you've mentioned something so important. One thing I will say is that I wouldn't share my past if I feel like it's not even a testimony at that moment. Because it's so much relieving when you get to share something that is already a testimony. Like you could say, I was here and God has brought me here. I used to struggle with this, I'm here. I was fighting this addiction, now I'm here. And they could clearly see it. Because sometimes you can say, I was struggling with alcohol, but bado unapiganga chupa moja mbili. Mtu ana feel una struggle, yes, lakini bado hujatoka. Alcoholism, unaona? You used to struggle with habitual sin, but still there are patterns of habitual sin. So it's important when you get to share, when you feel like now this is a testimony to me. The old is gone, the new has come. So don't share when the old is still going.
But here, I hear you. I hear the old is still going, but Patricia, the relationship is still going. This relationship is still on. I am getting to a place where I'm already relating with you so well, but I haven't told you that in as much as I'm really trying to get into a relationship with you, I'm really battling. I'm really battling something like alcoholism. And I'm not ready to open up to you because I know my fear is you might decide to walk. You'll tell me, go clean yourself out first, then you come. But the fear that I have is you will definitely leave me. But where is the grace for me being able to share and you being able to tell me, it's okay, Mwas, we'll walk with you together? Where is that place? Is there a place for that grace for people to extend with people with weaknesses and be able to help them walk that walk to freedom, or even walk that walk to accepting them despite their whole past that they had? Where is the place for that grace?
It is there, but it's hard to accord other people grace, because also in the same Bible, as Christians, we have been called to be witnesses, yet we judge and we condemn. So as a person, naturally, I'm like, oh, I'm also a Christian, but I know if I was in the other person's shoe, I'd probably judge and condemn them and be like, hi, that's it. This is a wrap. Maybe there's someone else who is better than you, so why should I stick to this because of your past, There is grace, but it's not accorded that easily. It depends with the person and their level of maturity also in Christ. Because once you receive the identity, you're able to mature in different spaces and walk in different spaces with God. So if you receive that personal grace from the Holy Spirit, then you'll be able to accord the grace to the other person, and you won't judge them with their past. And that's why so many times you'd hear like the gospel singers or other people give their testimonies. It will touch your heart. But there are those who would be like, you're trying to seek our sympathy, you're trying to do, you know. We have a balance. You never know what side of the other person you'd get.
Which one is better, Ben? Knowing this person who has been trying to put out a very clean facade and showing you that you have been, you know, meaning same poor, you know, who need him poor, and then finally you get into a relationship, and then you discover that they're actually battling some of the things that they would have told you earlier. Habitual sin. Good examples are people who've actually come out who are in the ministry. People like Kirk Franklin, getting to let the family members know that they've been actually battling pornography and masturbation. Later on, when you're already several kids down, and the world is wondering, you know, or you're like Bishop Wicks, who married Yonita Bynum, getting to a place where now you realize that you're a violent person until, you know, the publisher recalls all your books back to, you know, to the shelves, back from the shelves. And people are now discovering, kumbe huyu msee, you know, and now it plays out in public where it would have been resolved very early. You will have told me like, hey, Patricia, this is Moas, I'm battling ABCD, and because I'm battling ABCD, please help me walk. I know we are very much advanced. I'm feeling like I'm at a vulnerable place with you in our relationship to share with you, but would you help me walk so that even as we are building towards maybe a marriage that, God willing, we will be able to be together, you will have played a very vital role so that we don't have challenges in our marriage. Where is a place for sharing that as opposed to trying to conceal and then ilipukie baadaye when things are too advanced?
The same thing we've talked about fear, and there's that fear. You have the fear of losing this person. But what I will say is that one depends on the person you're telling. Even if you tell this person, whether you're 2 years or 50 years later, and they want to expose everything, then that person, huyo mtu alikuwa tu hivyo, like angefanya tu hivyo. And one thing I normally say is that once you meet someone, doesn't matter how perfect they are, they have a past. They have a struggle. Everyone, even your pastor, your bishop, everyone is struggling. Paul was writing and saying, even at this moment, I'm still struggling.
There's a thorn in my flesh.
Yes, there are things that is still struggling. Munaweza ona hizi vitu zote Paul amedu ameachieve, he's still struggling. David, amedu vitu more, but he was still struggling. Look at Naaman. Naaman had leprosy. Na alitumika all through na God amemtumia alafu jamaa kumbe amekuwa, I normally say like he was bleeding from the inside. Him knowing that he has leprosy and he's been called by God and is winning battles for God, but then he's bleeding from the inside. The kind of sickness he's having is ni aibu. Si kitu ya kusema tu ati niko na homa, ati niko na ni kitu ilikuwa so shameful to share. And one, the person you get to share the information, if this is your spouse, maybe your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, and they don't take it up as something that you struggle with, as something that is your past, that is gone. Because kuna mtu leo utamwambia, then ndio kwa social media unashanga ilifikaje huko. Imekuwa news, imekuwa everything. When you talk about struggles, bishop at publishers wana retract books, but then we are waiting for one thing. Actually, if you're a perfect person, if you are that person mwenye amekuwa all out a good person, watu wanatafuta tu kitu dogo,
just one scandal
wakutanish in everything, yani wakucancel tu kila kitu. So I think
it's a cancel culture.
Yes, one, we need to have that mind of whatever person you're meeting in this life, they have a struggle. They are coming from somewhere. Have you ever gotten to space? Me personally, I've got to space where I feel like going and asking my parents, is there anything yenye nyinyi mshaifanya, mshaenda kwa waganga? Yeah, because leo unaweza kuwa you were brought up by parents, unasema I grew up in a Christian family.
Yeah.
You're saying that I grew up in church. But yet your parents walienda kwa waganga.
Yeah.
And
you're struggling with issues here.
Yes, you're struggling with issues. And then you're there questioning God, uko zile za ati kwani nini imehappen.
Yeah.
Unaanza kufeel umekasiwa na wazazi wako, but
Yeah.
maybe kuna mali inatoka.
Yeah.
I think it is important when one you get to a point where you understand. If today my parent nilikuwa naambianga mtu mimi hata leo niamke ati if unaona hizi scandals utokeanga ati after msee amededi, mzee wako amededi, panatokea ati second wife. Uko zile za haya na huyu ametokea wapi? The question will be, aya ni wake, okay, anataka nini? Tugawane mali. Aya, shika ndio hiyo yako, alikuwa wa baba yangu.
Yes.
Hakuwa wangu.
Yes.
Because one, I need to get to a point to understand that yes, kila mtu ana struggle zake.
Yeah.
Na kuna vitu mzazi wako atakwambia, kuna vitu hata wewe utafeel because in our African setting, babako hawezi kuambia na struggle na pornography.
Yeah.
Hawezi kuambia.
Yeah.
Hakuna venye atashare.
Yeah.
Not even your uncle. They can't tell you.
Yeah.
They can't tell you this is what is eating our family.
We'll keep it under wraps.
But the moment you get to look at the patterns like you mentioned, there were patterns that you start seeing.
Yeah.
So now when you approach them, one, you need to approach them from the fact that you know this thing is happening.
Yeah.
So that they will be able to come to a space of open. The other thing is, you cannot be able to share something that you're struggling unless you feel safe.
Yeah. Has to be a safe space.
There must be a safe space.
That was what was leading to my next question, but just carry on.
Yeah, there must be a safe space because, like for instance, let me give a very good example. In 2020, just before Corona, I went to Kilifi. Was it Kilifi or it was Kwale Women's Prison? And then I found a lady with a child. And I asked one of the wardens what brought her there. And then she told me that mama akona kichwa ngumu sana. Yani unamuuliza maswali hataki kujibu. And then kamuuliza, but nyinyi mumetry ku calm down to understand nini. And then she started telling me that, this lady gave birth to a baby and she did not breastfeed the baby for like 1 week. And then the neighbors took her to the police station and she was jailed. So I told her, this is where people are making mistake. One, she will not be able to open up to you because one, she felt hostility even from the neighbors.
Yeah.
The neighbors didn't even question her, why are you not breastfeeding your baby? Why are you not even taking the responsibility? And they took her to the authorities and she was jailed. So now you expect you, who is working at the jail, for this lady to open up. She won't.
Quite tricky, yeah.
She feels like more years are going to be added.
Yeah.
And then I told her, the only way this lady will speak up, it's only you create a safe space for her to share.
Yeah.
And I actually told that wording, I'm actually putting it in a book. I'm calling it the sour milk. Maybe it's as a result of rape. Maybe she was raped by her closest relative.
She's dealing with that issue.
She's dealing with that issue at that moment.
Could even be an incestuous child. Yeah. Maybe and she's not settled. She's not settled.
So she feels like I cannot pass the pain that I'm having to the baby. Yeah. And unless I create a safe space. No, this person is being jailed for the fact that she cannot be able to open up. Yeah.
I know. I hear you, and I'm really grabbing very interesting nuggets from what you're saying. Because when it comes to safe space, my biggest concern is therefore, which is the question that I was actually aiming to look at as we finalize, is how then should we be able to drop this information, this very sensitive information, to our partners? Because I was watching a clip about a pastor speaking about in a ladies' conference, speaking how she's a reverend married to a pastor. And one day she woke up and had a knock on the door. And the door, when she opened the door, she saw a lady and a child who came from the US claiming that they have come to see their father.
Yeah.
Their father.
They came to see their father. And that is how this lady learnt that the husband had a family out there when he went to, minister many years back.
Yeah.
He went, whatever things happened. There was a product of, and now this chick has come back with a 19-year-old child because the kid has now decided, And this lady is opening up and she says, she didn't even need a DNA test. It was just very evident.
Yeah.
And this is a passes,
10 years of ministry.
Yes.
You're coming back with your ministry
product.
You planted. You are set to plant.
and now this is how this lady gets to know about this.
Yeah.
Because of why? Because when this man was doing ministry, he would have disclosed it but thought not to.
Yeah.
That maybe perhaps he had a thing going on, and brings in this child, and now the kids. She was saying that when the kids knew about this new woman and child who had come to visit, the son went and locked himself in the house for 3 days, never wanting to come out. All along, he knew he was the firstborn in this house. Here comes someone who is older than you. And I was like, hey, am I just getting displaced just like that, because some conversations that were meant to be had were never had. Some information that was supposed to be shared, some wisdom that was supposed to be applied at some point in time wasn't. And now it's coming back 19 years later to bite them. And it's now causing identity crisis with the kids. A woman does not even know whether she has the marriage again because this lady now looks hotter than hot.
Wow.
And the wife is wondering now if this man decides to just take this guy and pick up things from where they left them off. Boom, you don't have a family anymore. Now everyone is in disarray. You don't even need a DNA test, and now it gets you spin the whole family into a certain mess, and now it's not just about you two. It's now trickled to kids, it's now trickled to your ministry. People are, you don't even know how you're now going to even handle the situation moving forward. Now, my question is to you, Patricia. How do we land this thing home? You have this very heavy matter you need to share. How do you drop it like it's hot?
That's a hard question.
Yeah?
It's a very, very hard question. As we were just speaking, I found myself going back to the Garden of Eden where Eve ate the fruit, and then now Adam ate it, and then now there was a fall. So with every sin there's a consequence of fall. So I do not want, and now you see how they were hiding themselves for being naked from God. It's the same thing that everyone else is doing. So why do I have to? Because when I was in my past, you weren't there. So there's no need of me showing you my nakedness, because I do not know what will be the consequence of that, So I would rather just be I have to gauge it every single day, so it becomes a burden even for you to carry. You're like, I really want to tell my husband, I really want to tell my mom, I really want to tell my brother of what happened, but I just can't. Why? Because I know naturally it's just in me. This would just put me out in the naked, and then now there's that, as we were saying, the facade, the perfect face, the perfect life. Everyone will be like, what do you mean you were doing that? Like, that's, you'd rather maintain than lose. And when losing, you don't know what you're losing, exactly with the father and the son and the daughters. So even when you're giving the story, I was like, so why is this son taking the father's burden, making it his burden? That's daddy's problem. Now daddy and mommy are the ones who are supposed to figure out how this is going. But we naturally want to take people's problems and make them our problem. And then now we'll be so entitled to be like, now I don't want to associate with you because why? You're a fornicator, you're an adulterer. Now I can just cancel. Oh God, this is so hard. I don't have an answer for that.
So you're saying it's quite tricky. You don't even know how you're going to handle it. Benoit, how are you gonna drop it like it? How are you going to sit down your chick and tell them, listen, man, I know it is what it is, but I have to let you know. How do you soft land this plane?
I think
and make sure that
it happens.
And make sure that K remains constant. That things will hold. You'll still hold yourself. And hopefully you will still be able to manage that relationship and steer it.
It requires a lot of grace, and the fact that one, it is a past thing. You see, when you talk about something that is gone, like that past, it is not the past. It is not the past. It is past
fast forwarded. Fast forwarded itself.
It is past that is ongoing, because he should have mentioned it earlier, and the fact that maybe they were far apart, si mtu tunaona daily. Najua kuna ile ukiangusha bombshell, uko zile za huyu unamwendea sahi, huyu nitanyonga, but ni mtu amekuwa mbali, angemwambia hata niko na watu nilikuwa na wao, hata you'd rather say walikuwa before. But at the end of the day, you've given hints, so this person knows that this is what happened during the past. And let me give a very good example. Sometimes we I'm going to give an example that I am sure tutapigana kwa hizo comments. For example, the instance of Kapiwa Jesus, and when people are criticizing him, the fact that he slept with a cousin, and this thing has popped up, and then they handled the issue, they cried and everything, and then people are like, leo mtu ataanza kukuangalia kuambie you are more of a sinner. So I was reading Galatians 5. Sijui nani yako na Bible?
Yeah, I do have it.
Yeah, you have Galatians 5. So one, it requires a lot of grace, and this person, you need to pray for this person, so that when you get to share this message, one, they will be in a space where they will have to understand. One, when you get to choose to do life together, you're doing it for better for us. Kama mbaya mbaya, if we perish, we perish. So no matter what happens, whatever comes, tuko ndani pamoja. So one, we pray for grace for soft landing. Tumesema tutafute soft landing. You pray for grace for soft landing, and then you pray for grace for this person to understand. Sometimes there are things that we've gone through in our past lives that are going to shape someone else's life. So for instance, Kabi's story, I don't look at it and judge him as a sinner. I look at him and look at how God is doing so much in his life. No matter whatever he did in his life, God can change things around. Yes, this is what you did with your cousins. Yes, this is what you used to be. And then he confessed, he got born again. The old is gone, the new has come. My dears, here we are, si tunataka tuangalie situations na ujamaa ko hivi. So open Galatians 5:20. Verse 19, and then you read from New Translation. You can read from New Translation.
This is Galatians 5:19-20.
Yes. What does it say?
Galatians 5:19-20 says, 19 and 20 says, the acts of the flesh are obvious. Sexual immorality, impurity and debauchery. Idolatry and witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissension, factions. Verse 21. And envy, drunkenness, orgies, and the like. I warn you, as I did before that, those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God.
So, you look at your friend or someone as someone who's committed sexual immorality. And then there's jealousy. There's hatred.
Envy.
Fits of rage.
Selfishness. Selfish ambition. So, we are coming into a context where no one is perfect. We are all sinners. We've all sinned. And that's why God had to bring Jesus to come to die for our sins. To bear our pain and our suffering. Yes, this is what happened. But you need to accept, forgive, and move on. and pick up something. So me, when such a thing happens to Kabi, I'm like, people need to see God has raised him in this generation, because a lot of things are happening. You remember during COVID, when XT Andela was doing the Nyonga show and everything, I was like, do you know how many people have struggled right now with masturbation through whatever thing he was doing on the media? It was negative, and a lot of people fell into that, and a lot of people got addictions from it. But then God is raising someone else differently, so that you can see where they are coming from and look at how God is doing in them and through them. But we choose to look at the negative part. So yes, once you're here, you struggled with alcoholism, and then you bring it as an issue. I should not see it as you didn't have purpose. Yes, you are struggling. Yes, you had the purpose in you, but you're struggling. But I could be able to pick it as a testimony of there is God, and God can change things around. Because the same way something happened to Kabi and whatever thing he did, he's not alone. There are millions and millions of people that are doing the same thing. And there are millions of people.
And theirs is not in the limelight.
Theirs is not in the limelight, but they will be there to point fingers. But who are you to question, to point fingers to this other person? Yet we hate each other. Actually, this person has said it is the past, is renewed. And then when you look at them, you start hating them. You're committing sin. Because of something that was forgiven.
Quite interesting. I've heard what you're saying, and one of the things that I've actually picked up from that whole conversation we've just had is about, first and foremost, pray for grace. For soft landing. It's important. Allow me to also throw in a thing and say, if it is possible, speak to someone with some spiritual authority about it. Speak to a Pasi, speak to someone who has, let them just advise you, give you wisdom, pray over you, even as you're planning to download this weighty matters on your person. I would also say that be ready for anything. One of the things that we're not ready for is it can go north or it can go south. Being at a place of understanding that, hey, in as much as I'm willing to share this, this can go either way. And as it leads that person who I'm going to share decide, my prayer is it gets us to grow as opposed to us guys breaking off. But again, there are people who wouldn't want, and they will feel it's a part of, it's like a deal breaker for them. They wouldn't want to associate. A good example is if you decide to share that, let's say for example, I have a kid out of wedlock, and now I'm bringing it up and I'm telling you this is a past that I'm bringing into the picture. There are ladies who, maybe that person who you're dating is the person who maybe part of their deal breaker is I can never start it at 1 meal. Mi nataka 0-0. And so atakushotu roho safi. Enyewe mi nakupenda, lakini my prayer and my desire has always been I start off life with someone who we are in the same space. And so it can easily, your greatest fear and your biggest fear can just unfold right there and then. And you should be okay with it. And above all, for me, lastly, is if you can even approach when you're sharing that, that issue, I would recommend that you get someone who the other party respects and honors, so that he can also be present there to be able to give you support and be able to give the other person support. And someone who usually is rooting for both of you. That will somehow get you into a place where this person can be able to maybe perhaps they will never have the grace to take it from you, but if they hear it coming from that person, maybe they will be able to accept it and even be able to perhaps consider. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure you're sharing the information so that you can build into becoming a stronger couple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not to let you know so that I scare you off, you disappear. True. No, it is to build us. And if I'm getting to a place where I think this is a point that we have gotten to a point where I need to let you know about this, it's because I care for both of us, and there are things I can no longer hold my cards close to my chest anymore. And I'm feeling this is the place for me to have this full disclosure, with the aim that it is going to build us, not break us. But if it breaks at the end of the day, I was only coming in good faith. And if it is not for you to move on with a relationship as it is with what I've already told you, then you should also be at a place of peace to say it is well, and I release you. You know, it is well, but it was not part of the plan, but again, I'm releasing you. And I think that is one of the things that I would suggest would be a wise thing to do if at all you ever get yourself in that space and you have to share those heavy things on your partner. Having said that, I hope and I believe that you've actually enjoyed today's season, you've enjoyed today's topic, you've enjoyed today's conversation about
how much of your past,
how much of your past should your significant other or your personal person know about you. And I hope you just learned a couple of things. At the end of the day, this space is all about sharing those catch-22 tricky situations, and we just seek for wisdom on how we'll best be able to handle them, and at the end of the day be able to sail through. Having said that, thank you so much, Patsu, for coming through. Kamakawa, this is our girl, and thank you so much. Of course, this is Patricia Susan. And thanks so much as well, Ben, for coming through, Kamakawa. And as always, see you next time. Catch 22 on our next amazing, interesting topic. See you there. Comment, like, subscribe, share. And of course, tell a friend to catch up on our next topic. I'll see you.
I'll see you.
Peace.